Hello and welcome everyone. I am Hani Kithani from 10,000 Startups India and we have Preetham Onskar with us today from Taylor Smart. Hi Preetham, how are you?
Hi, Honey. Thank you. Thank you for having me on this call. So, thank you very much.
We are glad to have you with us. So Preetham, tell me more about you and your background. I would like to learn more about it.
Okay, thank you. So, I'm a Goan. I'm born and I studied in Goa, and that's my identity in some sense. And after I did my, construction engineering, I quickly realized that I'm not cut out for any of these business in construction, right? And that's the time I made a first move to sales. And people looked at me with a lot of suspicion. Boss, construction is a booming industry. People who have been in this space have really done well for themselves. And I was actually leaving a sunshine industry and getting into sales. But I said, okay, no problem. And later on, I moved to Pune in 2004. That is another root shop that people got. Who leaves a place like Goa and goes and settles in a concrete jungle, right? But that was my telecom journey, which started way back in 2000 with a company called as Hughes Telecom. So of course, I joined them in Goa and then moved to Pune when I moved to Reliance. But before that, I have a 3 years experience in the FMCG space with Crompton Greaves in the fans and appliances division, where I was managing their entire Goa, Sindhudurg, Maharashtra as a region. And as I said, in 2000, I started my telecom journey first with Hughes Telecom, which was an American company, which was taken over later by Tata Teleservices, and moved to Reliance, spent 4 years there. Also moved to Bharti, spent about 2.5 years there. And last 11 years with Tata Communications, before I finally resigned on 5th of February 2021 was my last day. I'm married, of course, 2 kids, studying back in Pune, and I keep shuttling between Pune and Goa right now. Yeah.
Wow, that's such an amazing journey. So tell me more about, prior to starting off this venture, you've worked with so many good companies and, some well-known companies. What was your biggest learning and takeaways from them?
So I actually varied from company to company, right? So when I was with Crompton Greaves, for example, I don't think so there is a better training company for a sales guy than Crompton Greaves, right? Because they would be the first adopters of most of the selling techniques that was there. Then when I moved to telecom, working with an American company was a complete paradigm shift, right? Uh, Calling somebody by their first name, etc., was not a culture back then in 2000 as well. But that's where we learned so much, right? I mean, the other thing was, if I was in an Indian company, then a mobile phone would have been a big thing for a person to have. But I remember having a mobile phone when the incoming calls were some 18 rupees or 1875. So, so, so some of these, learnings have been very, very instrumental of what I did over the last 22 plus years in the corporate industry. Then when I moved to Reliance, again, it was a complete different experience. If you are into a mega project rollout, I don't think anybody else than Reliance can do it better than, and I'm not trying to be mean here to any other company, but I'm saying this has been my experience. Mega projects, they are the masters, the way they roll out. I still remember when I was heading the enterprise business, which was called the ECFU, and had nothing to do actually with the consumer business. But when they launched the Dhirubhai Ambani, scheme, even the enterprise team was sucked in. They were pulled in and said, "Okay, you guys also find partners who can sell the Dhirubhai Ambani enterprise scheme to the others." So mega projects, I think, heads off to Reliance, and they create that a lot of urgency in the system itself. One is the innovation or the uniqueness. So I still remember we were still showing a lot of our customers those black and white cricket clips on an LG CDMA phone, right? And that was the in thing then, because no other phone was actually able to show you that. The other firms, we were still playing the snake game on it, right? I think innovation and Mega's project management is what I learned at Reliance. Then when I moved to, let's say, Airtel, I think Airtel is one of the most agile companies that exists, right? Again, very early adopters, but their focus on too much focus on the mobility side made us feel lost in the enterprise space, right? Because there was no so much of a so you learn to handle those kind of things also, right? Because uh, you would want to be in the sunshine or the sunrise kind of vertical always, but sometimes when you're not and you still have to make an impression, you have to try that much more harder. So that's what I did learn from Airtel. And Tatacom was, I think, I'm a fan of Tata's in some sense, a very big fan. So bringing the social relevance to what you do is big there. Then cross-functional management, the complexity of cross-functional management, and how things work. In an environment which doesn't report to you directly, has got no bearing on what you do, etc. Yet functions and operates like a one single unit, is something that is a huge thing to learn from Tata. So cross-functional engagement, again, complexity. And I remember my role at Singapore when I was based in Singapore. I was the head of corporate strategy, right? So corporate strategy looked at something which is at the back end, not really at the front end. And me being a sales guy all my life, I wanted to bring it to the front end of everything. But to get that support from the other sales leaders to whom it matters a lot was a huge challenge, right? But once it came together, I think everybody saw the success. And as a result of that, we got a lot of appreciation for what we were able to do in most of the geographies of Asia Pac, for example. We did a lot of work in Philippines, in Malaysia, in Thailand, etc. So that these are some of the things that I think were my greatest learnings in different organizations that I have spent time with.
That is truly inspiring, and looking at the kind of experience you've had, not just domestically but internationally, is amazing. So do
Thank
tell us, you were part of so many global cultures, and you've won a lot of awards. I've seen you've won top 100 most influential leaders from the renowned magazines. Do tell us about your winning strategies. How do you design that?
So I think every winning strategy always has the customer as the center of everything, right? And most of my experience has been in a B2B space, right? So whether it was my marketing role or my corporate strategy role or my sales role, I customers is at the center of everything. Having said that, it is also important for you to understand that you don't really try to sell them what you have, right? Because what is important to understand is what they want, and then you tailor make things in such a way that you are able to give them what they want rather than what you sell what you have. A lot of large companies make that mistake of saying that, okay, see, everybody cannot be Apple, everybody cannot say that I know what my customers want, and that thing has changed a lot in the current dynamics. But if you look at my stint or my customer acquisition strategy, whether it was as a marketing head or as a sales guy, has always been about consultative side, right? So knowing first what your customer wants and what you can offer, where is that you will really need to go back, work on the whiteboard and see how you can meet a customer expectation through certain alterations, certain developments, and so on and so forth. So those are some of the things I think which we really learned, as a enterprise, and that's been the core of whatever I did in my startups as well. Because if you know that what your customer is looking for, then is when you can really tailor make, and that's why we give a lot of credit to Tailor Smart for wearing different hats when it comes to different kind of requirements, right? So we have requirements which come where the companies will come and say, okay, I'm a new company, you need to do the logo, you need to design the uniforms, you need to stitch it, you need to deliver it, and we say yes, done. And there are certain companies which will come and tell us, okay, I have this, and we do it for one software company in India. I have these 44 management guys of mine, some based in Mumbai, some in Gurgaon, some in Bangalore, and some in Pune. Go get their measurements and get jackets done for them, and company will pay for it. We do that. Then there are companies which will say, okay, I have so many individual employees, they have become fat during the pandemic, get their alterations done, take their measurements. We do that. So we are the closest to the customer, yeah, and we understand what these customers are actually asking us to do, and then we at the back end we map it to which is the initiatives that will work for us, right? So in the first two cases, let's say it's a pure play business that we have. In the alteration initiative, it is more for us to actually help the bottom of the pyramid, which is our tailors, who normally have work only for 6 months, and during pandemic it has become zero, right? So it is my way of saying that, okay, we care for you, and here is the job work for you, just do it, and get some money which will bring you back to life. So various things, this thing, but the approach is same. We have the customer at the center of it.
I'm sure you have learned a lot from your sales journey. And how did you implement that in your entrepreneur journey? Can you tell us that, and how did you come up with this idea, Tailor Smart? And tell us more about Tailor Smart. I would really love to know.
Tailor Smart is not my idea. That's the first thing. It's idea of my two other directors, Joy and Praveen. They are the ones who had actually implemented this idea also, and I was their customer. Okay, it started with me being a customer of that company. It was that time not called Tailor Smart, it was called JP Fitwell. So there's Joy, Praveen, and Fitwell. And these two were friends, in the neighborhood, and they were like 3-generation friends, I would say. And when they created this company, Joy came to me because Joy and me, we had worked together in our past, assignments in a telecom company. He approached me and he said, we have started this, why don't you try us? And I instantly could relate to it for a simple reason that I used to otherwise buy trousers from the organized retail stores, right? Maybe Shoppers or Lifestyle or wherever it is. And whenever I used to buy a slim fit trouser, because of my unique structure, I had to alter the length of the trouser. The moment I altered the length, the slim fit trouser was never slim fit. Yeah. So going to that issue, I said, okay, let me try this and see how this works for me. And to my surprise, it really worked well. Okay, that made me more and more curious about what these two guys were doing. And I kept on tracking them for almost a year and a half. When I was in Singapore also, I used to come to Pune, get 4-5 trousers done, go back, use them. After a couple of months, come back, get a few more done, etc. One such visit, I told them that, boss, you have hit a ceiling. You have hit your 100-150 customers. And why don't we look at rebranding the whole thing and creating this more like a platform where you have everybody come in, including your designers, etc., and make this a bigger brand. To my surprise, they agreed, and then that is when we all three came together and we formed this company called Tailor Smart. And now we are talking to you.
Amazing. That's amazing. That's very interesting, in fact. Pritam, that's very proactive of you. How, as being a customer, you thought that, let's get into this. This is something very interesting, and that's a real great use of your sales skill set.
Thank you.
Really kudos to you. So, do tell us, can you tell us more about your end-to-end customer acquisition journey of
Sure.
Tailor Smart? And since not many people can actually do it the way that you guys are executing it.
Yeah, sure. So basically, we created this as a platform from day one because there were a couple of problem statements that we were chasing, right? The first problem statement was that, the youth understands the importance of a made-to-measure clothing, okay, and how the fit should be, and the fact that, a better fitted clothes gives them that extra confidence, makes them more confident, etc. This is known by every individual, not just the youth, but every individual. But they don't go to a tailor for a couple of reasons. First reason is that it's very tedious. एक कपड़े का shop जाओ and वहाँ find a parking there, and then find a good tailor, then you again find a parking there. and get that thing done. So that experience, the whole experience is a time consuming in some sense, right? It's time, energy, etc. The second problem is the fact that you don't really know that which are the good tailors, masters, or designers that you need to go to, right? So there's no reference point, so there's no some kind of a feedback that is already there. Like for example, you're searching for a hotel, you just go to a TripAdvisor and see what are the kind of options that you have. But here it is very, very difficult. You will get some Google searches and all of that, but it's very limited, unorganized kind of thing. That was the second thing. The third thing was that if you still found a tailor or a master, he would never give you the job work on time. So he would say, I will give you your dress in 15 days. For 25 days, you not hear from him. So there was that commitment. And the last and the most important thing for everybody today is that there was no uniqueness in the designing that they would do, right? I mean, they do the stitch same way, अगर अस्तर डालना है तो वो same तरह का डालेंगे, and all of those kind of challenges. So these are some of the things which we thought that could be addressed if we create a platform, and that is exactly what we did. So we got the designers on board so that you as a customer can get better, newer designs every time that you want to. And by the way, we are offering that as a free service, right? It is not paid. Okay. Then tailors, masters at the back end, we created. By the way, my other partner Praveen is somebody who's been 100 years in the tailoring business. It's his third generation tailoring work, right? So we created batches of tailors who are masters at what they do, right? What I mean by that is, let's say we have about 40-50 tailors now who in their entire life have only done shirts, right? They have not touched a trouser, and vice versa. We have another 100 tailors who have only done suits. We have another 50 tailors who have only done ethnic wear. We have another 40-50 tailors who have only done female wear. So what it does to us is that, every time we pick up an order, 9 out of 10 times, we don't have to do any alterations. So it makes our business also profitable. It creates a good experience for the customer also. Secondly, if we say we will deliver in 15 days, we deliver in 14 days, right? So which makes it that much more important for the customer also to believe in us. Okay, this is something which is available for them on day one. So the process is very simple. You go onto our app. Okay, based on what you want, you either choose a fabric or a design. So for example, if you're doing an ethnic wear, you will choose a design, right? But if you're just doing a shirt or a trouser or a jacket or something, you will choose the fabric. Now we are fabric neutral, so you can choose from Raymond, Vimal, CRM, or whichever other brands that you can think of, right? We even have brands like Huddersfield, which is 120 wool, comes from Australia, London, etc. Wherever they have the manufacturing facilities. So you get to choose the fabric or the design, and you just book an appointment. You don't pay anything. Okay. Once the appointment is booked, my tailor will, and the master and designer or any one of them will come with the fabric to you, right? They'll show you the fabric. You will get to feel that fabric. Now you get to choose only 15 fabrics. Why we have done that is because there are 560 fabrics. If my guy has to carry 550 fabrics, it will be difficult. So we get your, जैसे food में palette होता है, तो in fabric we get your choices narrowed down to 15. But it doesn't mean that he'll come with 15 fabrics. Suppose you have chosen blue checks, right? He will come with 200 fabrics of blue checks. Because now we know that what you're looking for, and so the probability of conversion also is high. So again, it will defeat a lot of marketing numbers, but for us, 9 out of 10 customers that we go to buy from us. So that's why we say that, boss, even if you don't buy, it's okay, but you can just book our appointment and experience our service. That's it. So because our data tells us that 9 out of 10 times the customer will buy from us, right? So this is the model that we have been able to implement from day one. Once the master goes there, you see the fabric, you like it, and you say, okay, get me a trouser done. He will immediately measure you up, put your measurements in the app. Now those measurements are available for you to see anytime. So you go to a Zara showroom or any other showroom, you will still be able to access those measurements whenever you want them. And he sends you a link. You pay, and once you pay, we get your attire done and we get it delivered on the 15th day. If it's a suit, it takes 20 days. On the 15th day, we do a trial for you. And on the 20th day, we will deliver the suit. And we don't have a return policy, obviously, because this attire is made strictly for you. So we obviously cannot sell it to somebody else. And you are making an informed choice because the fabric is shown to you, you're feeling the fabric. And as far as the, I would say, the fit is concerned, we will do the alterations or we will get you a new suit done unless until the time you're satisfied. So that's the whole, journey cycle.
That is amazing. It's like Urban Company for tailor industry. That is
Yeah.
amazing. So, my personal preference is the ready-made fabrics and everything. But then looking at the kind of provisions that you're offering to the people, I feel this is something that can change the perspective of people like me. That something tailor-made is very with a lot of hassle and a lot of struggle. That and then alterations. So this is something that will make this process very seamless and very efficient.
Absolutely, and we see an opportunity there also because, honey, see what happens typically is now, right now, if you see due to pandemic, and by the way, we had a fantastic first run in the first pandemic, when it was shut down. During the second pandemic, I think things became worse and we hit a complete low. But during the first pandemic, for some reason, we had a spike. Anyway, that aside, I'm saying that during the pandemic, all the ready-made stores, their sales have declined by 70%, 60 to 70%. As per McKinsey and some of the other reports, for them to come back to the pre-COVID level, it's going to take them minimum 2 to 3 years. Now they too have to bridge the revenue gaps, right? So couple of things they will do is, they'll come with more range of clothes and things like that. But I am sure that there are so many companies who are thinking of going to the customer rather than the customer coming to them, right? So they could go do that, launching their own made to measure range or whatever. And that time we get a huge advantage because we already have this model in place. So they can actually come and tie up with us and say that, okay, all the groundwork or the front end work can be done by a company like TaylorSmart, right? Because we already have access to the customer, we already have the masters who can go in the district, we already have the runners who actually deliver. We don't send it through a courier or whatever. We make sure that our independent runner goes and delivers. So that also for us, is a thought where we think that is an opportunity for us to collaborate and make business. So that's the way we think about TaylorSmart as a brand. It has got to be the household name in the coming 4 to 5 years.
So true, and I see that. I can see that actually. You can bring a lot of value proposition to a lot of people in terms of in this industry, and speaking of the numbers that you've made till date, the kind of team that you have, I'm very curious to learn more about. When did you start this business, and as of today, what are the numbers looking like for you, and what are the future plans that you have for this company?
Sure. So, honey, we started this business in 2016, as I said, right? So it took me about a year to take approval from my management team to be on the board of my own company. We luckily had a policy called as the external directorship policy, which allowed me to do that. But it took me almost 1 year to get that permission, right? But once it happened in 2016, I think we went live. December 2016 is where we registered. I think went live somewhere in March, April or so with our app and everything in place, right? Since then till today, we have not looked at multiplying the numbers in so much of a sense, right? Reason for that is we all 2 or 3 of us, we were doing this more like a part-time thing, right? And even then, we have hit a number of about 40 lakhs, 50 lakhs a year, right? Just doing this like a part-time thing also through a word of mouth and everything. Though we kept our Instagram and the digital presence live, but we were not pushing it to generate leads per se, right? Because we were all doing this as a part-time thing. We now are, ever since I've quit Tata's sometime in February 2021, we want to now scale this up. Now that we've got everything right, we spent these 3 to 4 years in building this particular company the way we wanted to see the transactions happen. We still have some work to go, especially on how we manage the operations in the back. We want to digitize that whole thing, which we need money, of course, because it's multiple stakeholders that are there, and everything is so it's not like a food delivery thing, but it is more to do with how am I going to manage every customer experience when it comes to a customer who is buying from three different vendors of the back end. So he might be buying an ethnic wear for his kids from an X vendor, buying something designer wear for his wife from a Y vendor, and doing a simple suit for himself from a Z vendor, right? So that is something that we still have to do, but I'm from where I see it, we have been able to curate this company to more than 80% of its the way it should function. Now is the stage actually where we want to multiply our growth, right? Even in this year, I think we will cross far ahead of that 40-50 lakhs that I'm talking about, and that too in just about 5-6 months. I think by the time we end in March 2022, we would have already surpassed and we would have already reported the best of the numbers by then. And then in the next year, we look to multiply every quarter, right? Every quarter we want to double up our numbers. So that's our plan actually going forward.
That is amazing, the journey that you've had till date as an entrepreneur. So, you have worked with this company since, I mean, you have been a part of this company since 2016, and till date, you've bootstrapped the company. Now that you're, ready for fundraising, what kind of investors are you looking at that you should have with you, potential investors?
Fantastic. Thank you for asking this question. Uh, as you rightly said, we are a bootstrap company, and luckily for us, we didn't have to borrow any money from any bank or financial institutions to fund our day-to-day operations, right? So which itself speaks for the fact that the model is working, right? Because it's generating cash, paying salaries for the runners, masters, paying the media team, paying the development team, and so on and so forth. So there are various components that it is already taking care of. So that's the plus point. Now when you speak about moving from there, right, so that is the journey which is the most difficult, or the most, I would say, challenging for all of us in the system right now. So that's why we want to get ourselves ready. We have our plans in place in terms of how we are going to go ahead with it, and we'll keep working towards it.
Is there any specific kind of investors that you're looking at? Are you trying to,
Yes.
put VCs on board, or you're looking for some angel investors, or is debt funding also okay with you guys?
No, we don't. We are not looking for debt funding for sure. We want whoever is coming with the funding to be a partner in the progress with us, and that's our intention. And yes, we are looking at whether it's an angel investor or a venture fund. We are looking at somebody who comes in with his B2B connects also. So for our business, uh, this looks like a D2C kind of a business, right? But if you go to see, our route to market is slightly different. We are not looking at just having one brand ambassador and make it, put money in that and this thing. If we have the money, we would rather spend it in doing road shows within a B2B compound, right? So we have done that for many companies in Pune, whoever allowed us to be there in their canteen space or some space, and that works very, very fine for us. I'll tell you the reason why. Because who appreciates your made-to-measure clothing the most? It's the people who don't have the time to get it done, right? So husband, wife working, both of them are going to the office. So the best place to catch them is the office, right? So we said that okay, we said that we will work through the admin and the HR team to offer this as a service to the employees, right? So where they can just come, give the measurements, get their alterations done, and then we have a base to go after. And trust me, if I get one customer, he refers me to another 2 or 3 customers in that ecosystem, right? And that is what is our marketing plan. So whoever is coming on board, if he can come with this B2B connects, which will allow us to be available in every corporate. I think that is the best space for me, because then I can do, you know, vertical integration complete, right? So right from there, if they have uniforms to uniforms, we can do, if they have a specific need for the events and things. So we work with a lot of event companies also, right? So recently, after pandemic, now we have just tied up with one wedding events company, and that one banquet hall does about 900 weddings in a year, right? So we say that even if you get 300 weddings, it's a huge thing for us to do, because we've done weddings like for 160 people. We have styled 160 people. We have styled 140 people, even in pandemic, by the way. So there is a huge amount of integration that can happen, and that is vertical as well as horizontal, when you're already there with your B2B customer. So it's a marketing strategy which is B2B stroke C, and we have consciously chosen the route of going that way, right? It is not by default or anything. It is by design that we are going that way, and with the reference, then whichever customer is coming, that's fine with us. So we don't want to make this like a big, some brand ambassador को लाके airdrop कर दिया, and then people will relate to us. That is not going to happen, because as you rightly said, you yourself, you are used to buying a ready-made this thing. Unless and until I tell you the power of what you can get through this service, you are not even willing to try, right? Even if tomorrow somebody like a Shah Rukh Khan comes and tells you the same, you will still have your skepticism even to try. So we will try this method for some time, and then once people know us a little better, maybe we'll go the other way. But for now, it is going to be B2B stores.
Very well explained. And can you also tell me how much we have covered, geographically?
Yeah, good. Great question again, Hani. So pre-pandemic, we were only doing Pune. And once we had this corporate customer come to us and asked us to do 44 cities, we wanted to grow with our customers. So we went to Gurgaon, we went to Bangalore, we went to Mumbai, etc. for this customer. And so now we have the presence in about 7 cities. So we have presence in Mumbai, Pune, Bangalore, Delhi, Kolkata, Goa, and Nagpur. Okay, these are the 7 cities. And our first international franchise is expected to be in Malaysia, which we are discussing already with them. So, but let me also state that currently 90% of our revenue comes from Pune. So if you say that, okay, 7 cities and then you should have an equal distribution of revenue, etc., that's not happening. That's the roadmap for us. But as of now, we are present in about 7 cities, and our first international franchise is expected to be in Malaysia.
I wanted to learn because I'm from Mumbai, so I thought let's.
Yeah, Mumbai, I already have my designer in place. She's somebody who's worked with one of the most renowned designers. She's she's on our payroll, so she's available. Then we have quite a few of lady karagirs there, male karagirs there, and we have our own master who will come and take the measurements. So any part of Bombay, please feel free.
Great. That's very convenient for me. That will become very convenient for me as
and by the way, we are also a backend for one of the most popular brand on e-commerce platform. So we stitch all their dresses for them at the backend.
That is cool. And out of curiosity, have you designed any celebrity, maybe TV actor or any kind of a popular personality probably?
No, we've not. So far, we've not got into that space yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the space that we will also venture into, because we are a pool of designers, right? And I'm sure that you will know this, that the young designers sometimes come with a very, very unique proposition or an outfit. And many people that way have made their careers, right? So we will have a platform where you can explore all these newer designs. And as they say in fashion designing, by the way, they always, if they're in 2021, they're always working on designs for 2023. So 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 that's the way it's going to be. And if we attract attention of the celebrities, of course we are happy to serve them. See, our intention is not to just play in that top of the line bracket, right? We want to make made to measure affordable for everybody, right? Today, the biggest myth that people have is that if I'm going for a made to measure clothing, it means that it will be expensive, right? And it is not going to be affordable. But that is what we have changed. I am doing trousers with fabric, measurements at home, delivery at home, GST included, everything included within 2,000 rupees, and with a good fabric, right? I'm not talking about some second grade, third grade kind of thing. I'm talking about a branded fabric. So if I'm able to, with a branded fabric, if I'm able to do, trousers at less than 2,000 rupees or a shirt less than 1,400 rupees, it is because we are a capex light kind of model, right? And as a result of that, I can pass on that extra benefit to my end customer, making it affordable for you, right? So the same dress you buy at 2,000 rupees in a retail outfit, because it has a brand name on it, versus the same thing I will make it for you in 1,000 rupees, there is going to be a huge difference even in the fit. Our fit will be definitely much better because it is made for you. You normally tend to buy a 32 waist trouser when your actual waist is 31 and a half, right? So obviously that half a thing, a half an inch difference makes it look better when you do it at 31 and a half.
Truly, I mean, the kind of industry and the sector and the kind of work that you're doing for it, making it affordable and seamless at the same time, is amazing. So do
Yeah.
tell me, how are you managing this kind of team? The team size that you have is very huge, and your own core team members. How are you all managing your team first?
So we have our roles and responsibilities cut out. Okay. So the biggest team obviously is managed by Praveen, who is from that background. And mind you, these are not our employees, right? So they have to be managed far more carefully, right? And to get maintain their commitment and things like that. So we have a certain strategies which I'm going to openly give out to do that. So for example, the one is that Praveen comes with this whole relationship of 100 years and all. That is fine, but finally it comes down to the money. And when we talk to these tailors or masters, whatever, if an X brand, which is also getting it done from them only, is paying him 500 rupees per trouser, we pay him 600 rupees because of few things, right? One is that he comes from an unorganized sector where money is always a crunch, and second is because I think that it is also building our loyalty with them. So we get the preference when it comes to doing somebody else's attire versus that of ours. So we have never faltered on our delivery even today, and that's why, as I said, right, we get reference customers from our customers because of the kind of service we give them, and we cannot give them unless and until we have this commitment either from Praveen or from its team, which is not even being paid by us. So operations, it's Praveen's responsibility, so he manages it end to end. So once the order comes in on the app backend, it is his responsibility to manage the procurement of fabric, which master to cut, which master to stitch. Once it is stitched, trial needed, not needed. Then the packaging, once the packaging is nicely done, then the delivery. And mind you, the first delivery we get our sales guys to do it, because it is also observed that when the guy goes and asks them to try it on and all that, there are chances that he would say, "Arey, ye to bahut acha bana hai, aur ek bana lo." So we get a upselling opportunity there. So the first order is always delivered by the sales guy himself. So that is as far as operations, which is the largest team, is concerned. Now Joy manages my finance and sales on the ground, right? So he is the one who has direct reports of the sales guys, etc., who reported to him, and then he coordinates with Praveen for allocation of masters, which is what we want to digitize now. So this is one, as I was telling you earlier also, this backend thing is one thing which we have not digitalized so far, and we want to use technology there, right? Because otherwise the more we grow, it's going to get more complex, and it's going to be very difficult. So Joy takes care of that. I take care of all the PR, marketing, strategy initiatives, alliances, etc., etc. So me and Joy, we work hand in hand, because I look at the larger permissions, etc., etc., and then Joy has to execute it for me through his team. So I go out and speak to customers large enough to allow us to get permission and be visible in some sense. So I think the roles and responsibility thing is clearly cut out for us based on our skill sets. Like Joy completely is a sales guy. He comes from the same background as I do. I luckily have a flavor of marketing and corporate strategy, so I take that responsibility. And Praveen manages the entire operations for us.
That is amazing. Good to know that how you all are working together as a team to make this company more and more successful. And do so we have talked a lot about your experience, a lot about the work that you do with your team, and do tell me, how do you manage your work life balance? I mean, your company is already in more than 7 cities,
That's
so
why I quit my job. So yeah, so I think when you're in a startup ecosystem, it's always important to get your family to back you up, right? So obviously I have the backing of my wife and my kids, because right now as I'm talking to you, I'm sitting in Goa, and my family is back in Pune. So I think they kind of managed or learned to do this well. When I went into the role of managing Africa, actually, which is way back in 2018-19. Because that's the time I was always on the move. 22 days of the month I was on the move. So obviously they had to manage things on them by themselves, and that is something that is kind of work for us. But I will say it's more possible for the kind of support that you get from your family and friends, and that's kind of pushes you to do more. But yeah, I'm personally speaking, I am somebody who loves to multitask. So I manage to give enough amount of time home as well. It's not, I would not say that I'm deep neck till 2 o'clock in the morning only doing Taylor Smart work, and that's not right. But I'm also able to give myself to think. I'm a runner, so when I'm running, I'm always thinking about the next two to three things to do. And as and when possible, I do spend time at home. So it's doable. I mean, it's not. I didn't find that as a challenge, even in my corporate life or now.
that is amazing. I should really learn from you. And the part where you mentioned that family support is very important, I can really relate to that. I was also into corporate for 3 years, and then I joined a startup, and it's very during a pandemic. So it was not easy for my family also to digest the fact that, oh, the girl is working from home on a laptop and doing nothing else. So so that is
And
something
that to leaving a stable corporate job and getting into a startup, right?
is
Yeah.
something very risky, yes. So but yeah, I'm enjoying, and I'm sure I can see that you're enjoying as well,
Absolutely.
and your team is in great synergy. And me and my co-founder Linesh are very glad to have Taylor Smart on board with us. Like you mentioned, you are facing some challenges in terms of your backend technology, which we can definitely help you with. Apart from that, you're looking for investors, which have a lot of B2B connects. We can find you right potential investors for that. And any final words that you would want to share for 10,000 startups India?
Yeah, I mean, ever since my first interaction with Lineage, I think I found you guys the most agile, the most willing to work kind of a team, right? I mean, I have been discussing with a lot of other companies as well, but I think the only reason why I kind of went ahead with the nation, you guys, is for the fact that you were responsive, and you were interested. You were interested in knowing the story. You were interested in seeing that what else more can be done in this space. And Another thing that Linesh mentioned is that Pritam, what you're creating has got a huge social impact. So that is one thing that I could relate to him with, because I am not in business just to make money. Because I think, touchwood, for that reason, though I would have never got into business. But there is, I think, an opportunity for all of us to create this impact. This is a time for India, and I truly believe that the whole development can only be successful or possible if the bottom of the pyramid are also equally taken care of. So, and we impact that. So that's the reason I think we are talking today, and both of us together. I think I wish us a good luck. That's all I can say.
Truly amazing. In fact, even we enjoy working with your team, and very energetic, very enthusiastic team, I must say. And really looking forward to working with you guys and take Taylor Smart to the next level.
Same here, absolutely the same. Likewise.
Pleasure talking to you today, Preetham. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. Lovely talking to you as well. Thank you.
Take care.